What's up, guys? This is Kyle Chasse bringing you the latest news and opinions from someone who's been in this space since 2012. Today, we're talking about the crypto markets are on a tear, but is it going to last forever? I will tell you some opinions at the end. Also, give you an opportunity for any of those of you who've been interested in being involved in crypto but haven't quite made your way up to a conference or anything like that yet. Here is an opportunity to actually do that. So I'll tell you about this in a little bit here. Awesome opportunity for all of you who have been curious but never have been actually to a crypto conference or involved in any way. Here's your chance. This is a real life story about somebody who is having frustrating times with PayPal. I would know. I've been banned from PayPal and several other money transmitting apps. True case for Bitcoin. Upgrades on the Bitcoin's network. What are they going to be and how will they work? Bitcoin is rarely upgraded, and I will tell you why. This is a good thing. Forget the traditional banks, savings accounts, checking accounts. Get into crypto. I will tell you why. Forget this low interest they would give you at the bank, or none now. Crypto gets easier. Sending payments with these long, complicated alphanumeric addresses are going to be a thing of the past. An update on coronavirus and some opinions about the current short-term price analysis of Bitcoin in the crypto markets. Let's jump into it. So as you can see here, the crypto markets have been on a moonshot here, going all the way up. Everything's very much in green. On the 7-day, on average, you see mostly 25% up in the markets. What I find is very interesting is like a lot of the projects I've invested in don't pump as hard as the other ones, which is really weird because the ones that have real utility and are actually being used in the world typically aren't being as pumped as much as other ones. For example, like Ravencoin is I like a lot. I like for an example like Energy or Holochain. You know, these guys are not being as much pumped as much as something like, you know, let's say like Bitcoin SV or Cash or something crappy like that. You know, these guys are both up 25 and 30% respectively, and they're just crap coins. So also Tether's been pumped. We're now at $6.5 billion in Tether. We had a couple billion being pumped recently, and that could lead into this pump and then a dump possibly. So this is coming from Goldman. This is talking about traditional markets, right? And this is what I've been saying for a while, right? And this is, you know, to kind of highlight this whole episode, let's go with the traditional Warren Buffett quote of be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. And right now, the market is absolutely very, very greedy. We see a massive underlying issue with the economy. On Thursday, the jobs report was put out saying there was a total of 10 million unemployed in the United States. I imagine by now the number is approaching 15 million, which is where we were at in the Great Depression. So this guy, Goldman Sachs, one of the chief analysts, it's Goldman Sachs' chief equity strategist, David Kostin, explains during CNBC phone call interview on Tuesday that recent enthusiasm for stocks doesn't necessarily contribute an all-clear signal for bullish investors seeking a path higher for the pandemic-stricken markets. So basically what he's saying in this entire article is kind of what I've been saying in the past few episodes I've been talking about, which is basically, you know, there's not really any justification for this uptick in prices other than the fact that there's been all the stimulus money pumped into it. He says, for Constant's part, it is important, he said, that investors not get overzealous. Citing market moves during the 2008 financial crisis, the analyst recalled that the market 12 years ago took several months of violent moves up and down before ultimately putting in a lasting bottom on March 9th, 2009. I would just remind you that in 2008, in the fourth quarter, there were many different rallies, but the market did not bottom until March of 2009. So this is what, you know, I think what we're seeing here, right? You have this uncertainty in the markets and people are buying the dips and they're taking advantage of this propped up system, right? So if I don't play the traditional markets, I don't actually trade much at all. But to me, what's going on is that, you know, there is this stimulus going on to pump the markets. So why not get in when the market's being pumped? Now, like you have to take into consideration that this is not going to last forever. We cannot continue to pump money into the economy, right? Like that's just not going to work. So when that stops, or even possibly sooner, depending on how bad the pandemic gets with the corona and everything, it might not even be enough to prop up the economy, no matter how much money we pump into it. So just take this into consideration. This is kind of fun and exciting, I guess, especially for any of you who have never been to a crypto conference before. So crypto conference attendees prepare to enter a 3D virtual world. So this is talking about a crypto conference called Blockdown 2020. It's scheduled to take place in the virtual realm this month. But there's going to be a lot of big people speaking at it. Probably because no conferences are actually going on right now, and probably will not for the rest of the year. Right now, the one in Malta is scheduled to go. I'm going to be speaking there. If you want to come out, check it out. That would be fun. Come say hi. But notable attendees on the docket include Binance founder CZ, Stellar co-founder Jed McCaleb, Neo founder Da Hongfei. Also appearing will be Roger Ver, Bitcoin Cash guy, Bitcoin evangelist, blah, 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 and Eric Voorhees, CEO and founder of Shapeshift. Also, Akon will be there. Akon is, if you don't know, Akon is building Acoin, and Akon actually acquired a large chunk of land in Africa where they're building Akon, or I forget what it's called. It's some huge city where they're going to just take cryptocurrency. Their native cryptocurrency is called Acoin, as you can see down here. Anyway, so he's going to be there as well. So, the conference is called Blockdown 2020, and I haven't looked to see how much it's going to cost, but, it'll probably be significantly cheaper than a normal conference, and it'll give any of you guys who are curious an opportunity to have an inside look at what a conference might be like in a way. Like, for me, one of the most interesting things about a conference isn't the actual speakers, it's the networking that you get from it. But for those of you who don't go to conferences or aren't in the business yet, seeing the speakers is probably going to be a really exciting thing. So, I suggest that you check this out. It would be, like I said, a really good opportunity for you not to have to fly anywhere, spend any money on a hotel or food or anything like that, and be able to check out an actual conference and see how these things are evolving. I guess they're going to, put all the speakers and avatars and things like that, and it should be very interesting. We have worked tirelessly to tap into our network to organize the best speakers in the industry, as well as endless calls with different virtual event software companies to find the perfect combination for this event at this scale. Well, not the best speakers. I'm not there. People. I tend to find that people are too diplomatic and nice at these things, right? So, like, if you look at some of my panels that I've done or moderated, I'm always fairly controversial because I like to make sure that people are speaking the truth and correcting people when they're not speaking the correct things and that kind of stuff. Yep. So check it out. Be a good opportunity for anyone to get involved. And who knows, maybe you love it and want to get involved. If you do, feel free to contact me. I'd love to tell you how you can get involved. You don't have to be interested necessarily in the technology so much. Like, we have crypto artists and photographers, and if you like to throw parties, you can organize a conference, organize after parties. If you're a lawyer, you can be a crypto attorney, and you have so much less competition than in all the other competition in the normal world. This is a growing industry, right? And we're going to need all other things to support the industry as it grows. Education, networking. You're going to need, everything. This is an entire industry. It's not just people who want to build technology that are needed. You've got people who are making clothing and watches and, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's a good opportunity to get involved. I'll tell you what, though, it's a really, really, really cool group of people. I love going to conferences. I love being involved in the industry. It's usually, very entrepreneurial mindset. Everyone's very positive. Everyone's very collaborative. It's a really good, really cool and fun environment to be in. Okay, so this story, this is like a clear case of why, just listen to this, right? Okay, I'm actually going to read this one because you just have to hear it. So donations poured in for a man stranded at LAX, Los Angeles Airport, during the coronavirus crisis. PayPal still has the money. This is what happened when a big-hearted readers donated more than $7,000 through PayPal to help Seth Tom Davis and his seizure alert dog, Poppy. Nothing. Davis has been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, epilepsy, and dyslexia. He has been homeless since Christmas Eve, and his wallet was stolen during a long layover at Los Angeles International Airport. He and Poppy lived in the Terminal 6 for 3 months and watched the coronavirus decimate airline travel. After the Los Angeles Times wrote about his circumstances, readers leaped to help Davis and Poppy. More than $11,500 has flowed into his PayPal account and separate GoFundMe account set up by generous Orange County couple. Davis has been trying to get access to his PayPal account since March 31st. No matter how many calls he's made, no matter how many online chats he's engaged in with the company, which had 17.77 billion revenue in 2009, still does not have the money he needs. And their typical response from PayPal, like this is why I just hate these companies. It's so annoying to deal with credit card companies, PayPal, any of these guys who just give me my money. Someone sent it to me. Why don't I have it yet? It's so hard to get anywhere with anybody. Their response: we apologize for the frustration this has caused, Mr. Davis. Yeah, right. You don't apologize. You don't care. That's the thing, is they don't care. Bernadette Gustini, a PayPal spokeswoman, said in an email, our dedicated customer service team is deeply committed to do all they can to resolve the issue for Mr. Davis. Another lie. If they wanted to release the money to him, they just would, right? So they're not deeply committed. They're probably one person who's like partially, it just, whatever. Part of the problem has been that the virus itself. PayPal warns customers trying to engage in online troubleshooting that the coronavirus has lengthened wait times. Why? And don't bother calling PayPal's customer service line. This is what Davis heard when he tried. Due to coronavirus safety precautions, our customer service line is currently closed. On Sunday, 5 days after Davis began trying to get access to his account, a member of PayPal's escalation team called. She told him that all holds had been removed from the money and that had been donated to him, and that she had transferred $2,000 to his bank account. On Monday morning, he got an email. Our review is complete and we have returned your account to regular standing. However, the hold was still on the account and the money was nowhere to be found. Typical. The company later confirmed that the $2,000 transfer would take 3 to 5 business days and land in Davis's bank account. And the other $5,000, there's a 72-hour hold on it. He won't have access to that until Thursday. Risk control is PayPal's explanation. So what they do is there's no reason. I mean, PayPal is just literally just digital numbers on a screen. There's no reason why the person that sent the money couldn't go to Mr. Davis's account instantly, because it's just adjusting numbers on a virtual screen. But what they like to do is they like to take other people's money and leverage it to try to make money of their own. So they always have these stupid, these hold times. It's ridiculous. This is why, it's like, I can't stand, I even got banned from Western Union. When I tried to send money to one of the developers in India, they thought it was some type of thing, and they called me, and I told them it was all good, and they still banned me anyway. So these guys, it just makes no sense. So risk control is a PayPal's explanation, which would be fine, except that on Monday, Davis had $18 on his debit card and $19 in his pocket, and lodging for one night. And Poppy had fallen ill. Poppy's his dog over here. I have nowhere to go, he said Monday morning. I'm stuck. I need to pay for a place to stay. Poppy is sneezing like crazy. She's coughing. I'm giving her herbal tea, her water, and honey, but she's not accepting anything, and she's sick. The GoFundMe account raised more than $4,600. Davis will get that money, but it arrives in his bank account slowly in small amounts as each donation is cleared by the donor's credit card company. One day, for example, he got $23, another day $62. Why does it take so long? My God. Davis is grateful for generous readers. He's also frightened and frustrated, laid low by uncertainty, terrified of landing on the streets. Okay, so this blah, 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 get into more of the story. His wallet was stolen. So Davis and Poppy left LAX on March 26th. They bounced around trying to make ends meet, and they still haven't been able to figure things out. So basically, what happened is they ended up going to Albuquerque, where he found an extended stay motel that he could afford for a month, and but the city had shut down tight. The only places for homeless men and his dog, he said, were the parks and streets. So he made it out there, and he couldn't even go in this hotel. PayPal had consoled him that once the $2,000 was transferred, shows up, he should apply for a PayPal credit card that is linked to his account with the San Jose-based company. That way he can gain easier access to his money. They will mail him a card They said when he gets an address, whatever that is. Like, if this isn't a clear case for Bitcoin, I don't know what is. I mean, if the people who sent him money would have just sent him Bitcoin, he would have just got Bitcoin, and no one would have been holding his money anywhere except for him, right? So this is a clear example of the frustrations that people go to using traditional payment services or providers. Crappy story. It sucks for this guy and his poor dog. And this would never have happened had he been using Bitcoin. He would have had Bitcoin instantly. He could have gone on one of the travel sites like Travala or something that take Bitcoin, got himself a hotel. He could have gone on and bought some Whole Foods gift cards or whatever on one of the many gift card sites where you can buy Bitcoin, and he could have got food. Problem would have been solved, no problem. But this is a clear example of Bitcoin. So this just talks about Bitcoin's future, and there's 3 different technologies they're trying to roll into one upgrade, which is Schnorr signatures, Taproot, and then this other thing which is called MAST, or Merkleized abstract syntax trees. I'm actually not going to get into the depth of this because it is extremely technical and it's even over my head. But basically what it talks about is the ability to add some levels of privacy to Bitcoin, as well as being able to scale it 25 to 30% on the transaction volume, which is an amazing thing. For any of you who wonder why Bitcoin is so slow to roll out updates, it's because it has never been the Bitcoin protocol has never been hacked. It's super secure. It's the most secure network in the world. And people have been constantly looking for bugs or vulnerabilities in the network. The fact that there are none so far that anyone has found has made it incredibly secure. So when you make changes to the core protocol layer, you have to make sure that they are incredibly secure, and people have been doing bounty works to make sure that there's no bugs, and hackers and white hackers go through all of this test code to make sure that it's perfect before implementing it. So this is just showing you that there's going to be continuous updates to Bitcoin over time that will make it faster and more private and better. And I would much rather have a secure underlying protocol than have it be fast and potentially be broken, because if it breaks, we lose all trust in Bitcoin. So next up, P2P protocol aims to simplify crypto wallet transactions with domain names. So this is what I'm talking about. When it comes down to crypto infrastructure and making things more easy for the general public to adopt, this is exactly what we need, right? Like when my mom looks at this long alphanumeric Bitcoin address, it just makes her scared. But people are very familiar with typing in an email address, right? So this is FIO protocol, which launched its mainnet on March 26, provides users with interoperable domain names instead of alphanumeric blockchain addresses. An acronym for Foundation for Inter-Wallet Operability, the FIO protocol is live on Trust Wallet and is in the process of integrating with several popular wallet providers, including Bitcoin.com, Edge, Engine, Coinomi, and Atomic. So this is okay. I always talk about that the fact that we need more infrastructure in the space for adoption. So a lot of people out there talk about this coin or this project or that project and how it's going to be so awesome and blah blah blah. But the simple fact of the matter is that until we make things more user friendly or grandma friendly, we're gonna have a hard time with adoption. So what I love seeing news like this. I love seeing things that will make it easier for people to not be so afraid to try out Bitcoin or something like that. Prior to its mainnet going live last month, the foundation auctioned close to 2,000 FIO domains and over 7,000 FIO addresses, which will be valid for 1 year after mainnet launch. These domains and addresses are structured as non-fungible tokens, meaning that they can be sold and traded using smart contracts if desired. So basically, a non-fungible token is a cryptographic token that represents the ownership of an asset. And it cannot be divided or anything like that. It is just simply if I want to own a piece of digital art, that the ownership of that digital art can be represented by a digital token or a NFT, non-fungible token. that has my information, and if I want to sell that digital art to someone else, I just sell them the NFT, and then now they own the rights to that digital art. It was the same thing with like CryptoKitties and different digital asset things like Ecomi and things like that. So that is an NFT. And as previously reported, a number of blockchain projects have launched products that aim to simplify the user experience by removing the need to use alphanumeric wallet addresses. These include Spanish wallet EasyPay SY, the Ethereum name service for Ether payments, and BitcoinWallet.com from as early as 2014. And the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, has meanwhile patented the system that would enable users to transact Bitcoin directly using email. Cool. Okay, so this is, again, I'm not into technical analysis, but for those of you who are, here is a case that supports my fundamental analysis, saying increasing possibility of a 45% drop. And, you know, basically it goes into, okay, let's read it to you. From a technical perspective, we are seeing an ascending wedge pattern, which is a bearish pattern. Ascending wedges are formed when the price of an asset makes a slow recovery after a big drop, like we had on March 12th. This is the case for Bitcoin. After a huge 60% drop from 9,200, BTC is making slow recovery, forming an ascending wedge pattern. Secondly, the descending trend line is acting as a very strong resistance. Here, resistance, right? And here's ascending wedge here. And this is where this guy thinks is going to go. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen very shortly. However, I'm kind of thinking that maybe, even though it wasn't true last Thursday, when we got the job report that said now 10 million unemployed, I believe we'll get the new jobs report on Thursday, and it could wake people up and realize just how effed we are. So anyway, the recent recovery in the stock market is also lending some support to BTC as there has been a higher positive correlation between BTC and the stock market lately. Like I said in one of my previous videos, however, the stock market hasn't bottomed out yet, and I made that clear on the last video I had. I showed you the S&P 500 and how it dropped, you know, even after the last drop that it had that was pretty bad. It still wasn't nearly what we had in 2008 and 2009. It was still like, I think something like 4x higher than that or something, and things are looking way worse than 2008 and 9. And I showed in that same video the amount of unemployment, how it was barely a blip on this chart compared to what we have right now. And, you know, like, who knows? Like, people think, like I just saw an article from the guy from The Big Short. The guy, what is his name? I forget. I don't know. Christian Bale played his character, and so he just came out publicly and started a Twitter and was talking about the fact that you know, we basically have our economy being murdered right now by this lockdown, and he makes a case for why the flu is much worse or as worse. And you know, it also goes along with this idea that I talked about in a previous video too, about herd herd immunization, or whatever it was called, where basically there's two ways that the coronavirus will become not a threat anymore. One is massive immunization, where we get these immunization shots and everyone becomes immune to it. Or two is this herd thing, where about 75% of people have to catch it and get over it or die, whatever, and then we become immune to it as a mass. And so a lot of people think that that's the only way that we're going to get out of this coronavirus situation. And the soonest we're looking at a immunity shot would be something like 18 months. So that's a long time. And it's a long time of people being afraid, being locked down, getting sick. And who knows when people will go back to their jobs and work. And, you know, right now, also the same guy from The Big Short is really pleading for... it's just saying that the government's doing a really terrible job, that we should never ever lock down the way that we did, and it's causing the economy to crumble, which will cause far more pain and suffering than the coronavirus itself. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Rupert wants to say hi. Say hi, Rupert. Like and subscribe. Do it. Like, Rupert, tell him. Well, buy Bitcoin, but maybe buy the dip is better if the dip is going to happen. We're waiting for the dip, huh, Rupert? We're waiting for the dip. See you guys. Bye-bye. See ya.